What is up, guys? Welcome back to Juansuponatime, and today we're going to show you how to take photos of watches. I am here at the studio with my friend John Ferrer, designer and founder of BrewWatches. Not only is he a watchmaker, he's also a photographer. We are going to take a tour of his office, and he's going to show us how he photographs watches, as well as some techniques that he incorporates in his photos to make it more of your style.
Definitely.
Right? All right, let's do it.
Oh, welcome to Brew headquarters. This is where I design watches, work on watches, photograph watches, you name it. Whether I'm doing design work here, relaxing, enjoying the views of vehicles. What's really nice is you get to gather your thoughts and look at all the different designs that I've worked on over the years. Some prototypes that have not been released yet, but will be coming out soon.
Is this sort of an order of how you made them, or like a history type thing, or you just kind of...
In a way. Yeah, so we have the newer stuff towards the right end, and then some of the previous models towards the left. Some manual lines for the future. There's a first glance. When I'm working on these things, they don't leave the shelf. Sometimes it's a prototype, a new idea, but it doesn't always mean that it's ready. Sometimes it lives here forever.
It's also a creative thing, right? Because you make all these things that maybe don't work out at the end, but you keep them because they have this, it's almost like a child, right?
Even more so, it's like a library for me to always sift through and say, I had an idea once. I got to 50%, but I never finished it. Revisit it and then finish that in some way.
So all these photos on the wall.
There's a mix of photographs I've taken, then there's also renderings. You wouldn't even know it, but there's nothing like an actual photograph. The most honest way to looking at an object.
Your photos are almost from the perspective of a watchmaker and not just a photographer, right? So how do you incorporate your own love for watches to your photos? And
putting all these details into the design of the watches.
Yeah.
It's everything from how it's brushed, finished, polished, assembled, all these components. Then as a photographer, it's also my job to highlight, whether we're cutting the light, adding light with diffused light, reflecting from natural sunlight, and then of course telling the story of where it lies.
Because you're the one taking the photo and also making it, you also kind of have a pressure to make sure that little highlight that maybe not a lot of people notice is showcased in the photo, right?
Super important, because a lot of these people will never handle the watch. They can't see, feel, and touch these surfaces. So how do you complete that for them visually? In the past, I used to always shoot with Canon, super crisp, honest. And then I switched to Sony more recently. I felt like I was getting better resolution. I had more data, as they say. The 89.
It's like the Ducati of cameras, right?
For macro shots or maybe portraits, I use the 100mm.
Okay.
But that's more serious. That's more intentional. And then I also have a 24mm, which is more, let's call it Instagrammable. It'll open up a wide shot, whether it's a wrist shot or a flat lay. I like to open up that space and immerse whoever that viewer may be to see it's the watch, it's the arm, the clothing, to complete that story.
Okay, so this is your baby right here. That's right, props are a big part of the photo, right?
When you have familiar objects, other people can have a sense of this is how big headphones are. People know the scale. They have baseline to say, oh, that's how big the watch is in relation to another object.
Where are you planning on taking these, John?
So I will take this, actually the new Lumint watch.
That's right, that just came out today. Plug.
The Lumint watch, probably one of the brightest Lume watches out in the market right now, so watch out. And we can actually use this cool neon backdrop here from the magazine. I'm a big fan of shallow depth of focus, so it really highlights what you want to look at. I want to focus on the watch.
So right now you got, what lens are you going to be using for this, the 100?
To the 100. I'm also shooting natural light, so.
It's also kind of a cheat code that you have these gigantic windows here with amazing natural light pretty much 90% of the day, right?
Free light. So I like to keep the ISO as low as possible so it's not too grainy. And then, of course, shutter speed, another important factor. I like to shoot fast. Anywhere from like 250 is good. But for me, anywhere from 125 to 250 is good.
John has been kind enough to let me borrow one of his. And for people that don't know, what John's doing here is called a bounce. Instead of using just the watch on the table by itself, you can use a bounce to give it more light on one side. You can also do the same with a black piece of paper or just anything that blocks the light to give it contrast as well.
With watches, we like to shoot them at 10-10, give a little bit of symmetry, and even take that chrono hand off to the side. Right now, I'm seeing that the image is a little flat. What I would like is maybe some of that light cut. Instead of a white bounce card, you can use a black object.
Yeah, as we mentioned before in the video.
Doesn't matter what tool you have. They're just simple techniques that really complete the job. And then you don't want your props to always overbear.
Why don't we shoot maybe by the window on the bike?
This could actually be a rider's product watch in this case. And what we're seeing here is I can get a lot of depth. Yes. And we're getting the windows, bringing all that light out. Oh, this is so good. Okay. And now sometimes what I like to do just for dramatic effects is get a little bit of a glare on the glass.
I'd like to see how you do your classic wrist shot, because one thing I've noticed is that you just have a great wrist for watches.
You know what? There's definitely an
Secret sauce
and a science to the wrist shot.
Okay.
I'm gonna literally tell you what I look at.
Guys, this is an exclusive here.
So you don't want to curl the watch on your wrist too hard because nobody wants a crunched wrist. Keep it at 10-10, of course. It's the rule of thumb here. Keep the bounce on the wrist. I noticed layering works very well. Well, you're a light source. We've got this beautiful window here. Now, if it's just my feet, that's fine, but we've got a rug, we've got furniture to add depth. We like depth, we like props, we like all these things that just help complete the picture, really. And what you want to do is have a loose hand. You don't want to be like really tight and firm with it. Just like relax your wrist. And what I've been doing more recently is almost literally quite over the shoulder. And
Wow. Literally over the shoulder. I just thought you had a really wide lens, dude.
that'll do it. But then you'll notice some part of the day almost goes to blue light. So you're just fighting for that last minute of that light. Ooh, actually, this is coming out really good. So I like symmetry, but sometimes you just want an organized mess. What I mean by that, it's like you've got a chair in the background, you've got your clothing, it's all wrapped around the watch. And then let's take a look.
Beautiful. Look at that wrist shot, guys. Hashtag wrist shot. Hashtag BrewWatches.
Yes.
Sweet. All right, guys. So damn, bro, you make me look so short.
I'll go behind you.
Yeah, step back.
There you go.
Okay. So, well, first of all, Don, thank you so much for showing us some of your process.
You're always welcome.
The photos that you see, if they're shitty, it's because I edited them. If they're great, I still edited them. Thank you, John, for showing us some of the stuff. You guys make sure to like, subscribe. I want to thank you again for 1,000 subscribers. And if you guys want to check out the watches that you saw today and many, many more, where should they go?
BrewWatches.com.
There you go. All right, see you guys next week.